Hello there everybody, it's Watanagashi and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry. Now, before we go back into the game, we are going to go straight through all of these before we continue on with our little journey into this story. Also, I'm going to take the time to go ahead and say this. I make it a habit to try to read all the comments and be nice. So I'm going to go ahead and say this. Be nice. Don't post any spoilers, like if for people who probably watched or listened to these Let's Reads already, but don't spoil anything for me. Like, you guys have been kind of doing a good job about not telling me anything, but I'm just not a fan of spoilers. Anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and say that. Let's just get on with this. Oyashiro-sama's curse. In the ancient Onagafuchi village, the anger of Oyashiro-sama, his curse, was feared above all. However, it is seldom stated anywhere that what eventually happens and what sort of divine judgment curse befalls them with Oyashiro-sama's anger. Oyashiro-sama is angry. Whoops, I apparently didn't read that properly. I fucked up my English there. From various reports, all hell will break loose. Demons will come flooding out. The miasma from hell will flood outward and kill every villager, letting not a single one escape. The ones evoking images of the village being annihilated stand out the most. These terrifying ideas of divine punishment are in alignment with many other religious beliefs regarding the apocalypse, hell, and it's easy to imagine that they are just ways of convincing people to obey the teachings in order to prevent such an end. The conditions for inciting Oyashiro-sama's wrath are likely the same as the taboos in Onagafuchi village. I believe that when an act was performed that violates one of these taboos, Oyashiro-sama was termed angry. And in order to quell his anger, they would perform the aforementioned sacrificial ritual. Okay, scrapbook 2. Moving right on. The human sacrifice ritual. The sacrificial ritual was a simple drowning, involving plunging sacrifices into Onagafuchi swamp, which was considered hallowed. Of the rituals of Onagafuchi village, this one was unique in that the sacrifice would sink slowly over the long course of 3 days and 3 nights. I believe that it wasn't so much the killing of this sacrifice that this was important, but rather the symbolism of them sinking as the submerging of Oyashiro-sama's anger. For that purpose, they must have had a passion for learning various methods for keeping the sacrifice from sinking too quickly, to force them to sink more slowly. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell from the records, those methods were not recorded. My thoughts are that they may have used logs or some similar material to create a raft, kind of like how the mob kind of ties cement bricks to people's feet. Then set up a scaffold on there, hung the sacrifice up with ropes, and let them sink little by little over time into the swamp. Okay, maybe I got that wrong. However, if that were the case, it would not be strange if the ritual implements used for such a ceremony were honored as holy and enshrined somewhere. Well, these segments are actually kind of small. Awesome. Scrapbook 3. That's good. I can blow through these and immediately get back to the story. Implements used for the ritual. Ritual tools utilized for ancient religious ceremonies are commonly referred to as implements or ritual implements, and even now some of them are enshrined on the property of Furude Shrine and the 3 families. However, the identifiable tools are all decorative, and none appear to have been used in rituals governing the dark side of Onagafuchi village. As the Edo era came to a close and many traditional rituals were lost, were they lost as well? Or perhaps buried in the darkness? I don't believe so. Both the implements used on the night of the feast of Onikakushi and those used during the sacrificial ceremony must still exist, enshrined away from the eyes of the masses. Without a doubt, they exist here, today, at this very moment, in Hinamizawa. Also, I'm nearly certain where they've been enshrined. What was once locked steadfastly has, for some reason, changed this year to a cheap-looking padlock. He may be able to do something about such a lock. However, it is not far from the assembly hall, nor is it ever far from the presence of people. However, I will not give up. The night when it becomes a blind spot to every villager in Hinamizawa is coming soon. Soon it will be Watanagashi. Interesting. Okay. Festival's around the corner. Okay, I'm guessing this is with the class, I guess. Yep. Rabble. Hey, are you worn out already? Tomorrow's the real thing. We're gonna be partying until morning, until the very end of it all. Got it? Got it. I'll give it everything I've got. Alright, then. Youth is the greatest. Good work, everyone. Tomorrow is Watanagashi at last. Let's get some shut-eye in and save our energy for tomorrow night. Tomorrow is finally Watanagashi. I keep pronouncing it two different ways, Watanagashi or Watanagashi. I'll just pronounce it whatever fit suits my fancy, I guess. It'll probably annoy people. Festivals are split into two groups, those who enjoy them and those who support them. The former only need prepare their minds, but the latter needs not only that, but also painstakingly crafted plans of preliminary arrangements. While the general majority attending goes about enjoying the festival without a care in the world, will be strained the whole way through. Why? You sure as hell know why. Because the beer after everything's over is the best damn beer you'll ever have. At times like these, it's best to have energetic, physically fit people. It wouldn't be worth it if you didn't do your best until the end, enjoying it the whole way. Oh, he's here. Oishi-san came in. Everyone hurried to stand up.
Hello, everyone. Excellent work out there. You can be at ease.
Thank you, sir. Not even my seniors, who usually talk big about themselves, can hold a candle to Oishi-san. We all bow as if we were one of those cheering squads of old. Kurudo Oishi. I think I pronounced that correctly. Kurudo Oishi. Bleh. A detective just waiting to retire. One who doesn't pay too much mind to rules and regulations, and doesn't do too much in the way of real work. He looks like a rotten old man with a penchant for dirty jokes. My seniors, though, tell me he was a real fighter in his younger days, and that he may or may not have quite a heroic legend trailing behind him. Anyway, he surely had much more dignity and presence in the room than the section chief who came in with him.
Everyone, I really thank you for your hard work on the preparations for the festival.
Oh, I guess that really... The chief's direction. Oh, yeah. Okay, I guess it was Oishi.
Everyone, I really thank you for your hard work on the preparations for the festival tomorrow.
Everyone present stands upright and lends their ear to the chief's directions.
We're on heavy alert for any thrill-seeking criminals expecting another incident like last year. I need all of you to focus your energy as much as possible in your mission to prevent any crimes from happening.
Yes, sir.
Of course, it would be best if nothing happened. However, everyone, please assume that an incident will, in fact, occur. Prevention is number one, but it probably won't be enough. This year, too, someone will die, and someone will disappear. There's really no doubt about it.
Everyone apart from the section chief smiled painfully. Oishi-san, that won't do. We need to be more serious about this.
The important part isn't to get past the night of the festival. It's to be able to quickly, swiftly, and aggressively pursue whatever does happen tomorrow night. I won't tolerate anything less than your best. Clench those cheeks. We're gonna rip all the skin off the ghost of Oyashiro-sama's curse.
Yeah! Oishi, you're a badass. I like you. You better not fucking die. Last time I liked a character, it was Tomotaki, and he freaking died. Nah. Anyway, let's jump right into this next chapter.
Wah! It's Keiji-kun. Good morning. Good morning.
Reina was ecstatically waving her arms at me, already brimming with energy. What do you mean, good morning? It's already evening. Just say hello or something.
But this is the first time I've seen you today, so I think good morning is right. It's right.
I got it. Okay then, good morning it is. Good morning, Reina. I grabbed Reina's head and rubbed it with my hand. She squirmed, reveling in the motion like a cat.
Hey, Akei-chan. Sorry about yesterday. I left without telling you.
No, it's my fault. Sorry for making you wait so long.
Are you talking about setting up for the festival yesterday? How was it, Keiji-kun? Did you do your job properly?
The slight muscle pain through my body and my sluggish movements were already obvious.
I did great. I'm pretty worn out now, though.
I grinned dryly and the three of us break out into laughter. Where's Satoko and Rika-chan? Are we meeting up with them at the festival?
Yep. Rika-chan's actually been there since yesterday because she has such an important job. I think Satoko-chan stayed with her, so they're already at the shrine.
Right, I just remembered. Today was Rika-chan's big performance. She'd been practicing especially hard for this day. As her friend, I need to make sure I went and cheered her on. Alright, let's go right away.
Yeah.
Oh, if only I had the ability to do multiple voices all in the same moment.
Good lord, I'd have to edit that to do that. Fuck it. As we got closer to the shrine, we started passing by more people and seeing a lot of parked cars. It began to get noisier, too. I thought I could hear something like a bong dance song. I mean, like a bonfire dance song? Haven't seen one of those since Boy Scouts. Good lord. Without being able to restrain my impatience, I dashed up the entire flight of stone stairs.
Keiji-kun, you're going too fast. Wait for me.
Man, Kei-chan, you're such a little kid. Whoa, the shrine grounds. They were packed with people. It was a festival if I ever saw one.
Wow, they went all out this year too. Amazing, amazing.
They're coming from Hinamizawa. Huh?
The bedridden old man from Kimiyoshi branch family is here too? I think that old guy went home from Watanagashi last year and stayed in bed ever since.
Yeah, there were a lot of villagers here that I didn't really know. They must have all been pouring in just for today.
Oh, it's Satoko-chan.
God, I caught something in my throat there for a moment.
Hey. Oh, if it isn't everyone. Say hello to you all.
Alright, yes, hello to you all. Yo, Satoko. There's a lot of people today. Don't get lost in the crowd, okay?
Who do you even think you're talking to?
Satoko, too, seems somehow energetic, of course. I'm the same way.
Huh? Where's Rika-chan? She still has free time, doesn't she? Rika was giving her respects to the mayor and other important people. She shall come before long.
I see. Rika-chan is the shrine maid for today's festival, after all. It's probably a pain for her to say hello to all the elders. There she is!
It really is a pain. Hello, everyone. Ah! Rika-chan! I want to take you home.
Rika-chan wore an immaculate shrine maiden outfit that looked fresh off the shelves. It was a perfect fit for her somehow. Mystical appearance. It was somehow fit for her mystical appearance.
How does it fit? It's not too long, is it? My grandma gave me some safety pins just in case the sleeves are too long. It's alright. It really is comfortable.
As she spoke, she began to do some twists and stretches.
It's great, it's so cute.
There was approximately one person here getting a nosebleed from watching Rika-chan move.
Keiichi-kun, don't you think she's cute, don't you? If you don't, then she'll be all mine, and I'll take her home with me.
I think she's really cute, totally cool, enough that I want to pretend to be her big brother or dad or take pictures with her. If we take a picture from two different places and make it stereoscopic, we can eat, or rather stare at, a real-life Rika-chan at our houses whenever we want.
That sounds great, that sounds fantastic.
Reina's eyes and mine glitter with stars as our noses bled and we drooled. Good lord.
Rika, you best stay away from them. Yes, or I might get locked away in the basement somewhere. You look like you're enjoying it though, Rika-chan. Me, you're being harsh.
We all laughed together again.
Okay, let's not hang around here. Let's get to the festival. There's not much time left until Rika-chan's big debut.
You're right. Great. Let's go, everyone.
They all scream, yeah.
Yo, if it isn't the Dara Sonozaki, eat up. The yakisoba is packed full of pork. This year we filled it up as much as we could. We even put in fried calamari.
Gotcha, old-timer. The yakisoba this year looks like quite an achievement. You have squid, too. You put a ton of time into this, didn't you? Wow, it's tasty. It's tasty.
I've never had yakisoba. I wonder if it's any good. Yeah, the squid is delicious, but the aroma is just fantastic. It wonderfully compensates for how soft it tended to be. There's a delightful amount of squid and pork in it, too. Yep, not bad at all, I say.
Kei-chan, you sound like you could walk into a cooking program and become the host.
Kitchen's Nightmare starring Keiji.
I don't know.
Yeah, when I see Keiji-kun acting like it's so good, it somehow tastes even better.
I don't discriminate among delicious food. So anything that I say is tasty has got to be worth trying out, right?
Then Keiji, please give us your opinion of this yakisoba again?
I'll do it in 2 words. Absolutely scrumptious. If I had a second stomach, I'd buy another one right now. Having heard my 3-star rating, a whole line of people suddenly formed from the yakisoba stand. Oh, that's cool.
Wow, that's amazing. Kei-chan said it was so good that a little crowd started to form. Not bad.
It was nothing to brag about, but I still decide to stick out with my chest and put on airs.
Oh, is that so? Then perhaps I shall try it out. Mister, could I perchance bother you for one takoyaki?
Satoko bought a stick of takoyaki, balls of fried octopus from the adjacent stand, and after blowing it on it, put one of them into her mouth. So that's what takoyaki is. It's just balls of fried octopus? Good lord, I need to try a lot of this stuff. Takoyaki, yakisoba? Good lord.
How is it, Satoko-chan? If you give it a good rating, then Reina will buy it too.
Chomp, chomp, chew, chew, gulp. Now it's time for the Hinamizawa Michelin Judge Satsuko Hojo to give her impressions. Though she was all for it at the moment ago, Satsuko hesitated to give her thoughts. Hey now, what's the matter? Everyone else takes one of their own and puts it into their mouths.
Huh? Reina got gipped.
Huh?
Mine's bad too. There's no octopus in it.
What? This takoyaki vendor. Could this be some sort of summer festival only octopus-free takoyaki stand? An evil takoyaki stand that skimped on the octopus because they figured it would make them good money today.
Mine has some.
Yeah, it's pretty good considering there's octopus in it.
How am I supposed to explain that this octopus-free takoyaki is any good?
Everyone wondered about that too. Our quizzical look seems to be drawing equally dubious stares from the people in line.
How about this? Takoyaki without any octopus is really healthy. And even people who don't like octopus can eat this delicious takoyaki.
After hearing that, several surprised guests left the line. It had the exact opposite effect. Ouch.
Alright, then I'll give it a try next.
A self-inspired take on takoyaki, in which you can clearly taste the simple flavors of the flour, green onions, and pickled ginger. The unaffected taste is bolstered by the absence of octopus. It wasn't half bad, but after hearing that there's no octopus in it clause, even more people left the line. Jeez. Rika-chan, any good comments? You can be honest.
400 yen is too much for this.
That was too honest. Even more customers leave the line, dealing a lethal blow. There were other takoyaki stands around after all. Yikes.
Well, I mean, we might not want to be doing this. Hey, Satsuko, you started all this, so give us a great big turnaround. I can't outdo it. How do you expect me to lavish praise upon takoyaki without any octopus in it? Gah, you idiots!
Satsuko's angry outburst was the finishing blow. Oh, I feel bad for the guy at the stand.
Ugh. The customers are all gone. Huh? The guy is staring at us. Why is that? Why is that?
There's no saving this crowd. Perhaps I, Keiji Mayabara-sama, will lend a generous hand.
Keiichi-kun, you could do it. We want you to save the takoyaki vendor who didn't put any octopus in.
Don't smile as you say something so bitter. Alright, fine. This may be the only chance you'll get to see a pro at work, so watch carefully. I shoved the stick into an octopus-less takoyaki and crammed it into my mouth. As before, there wasn't any octopus in it, but Mion's had some in it. That was the important point. The man who runs his takoyaki stand, he truly loves takoyaki in every meaning of the word. No, it could even be said that he adores it. Eh? Everyone gasped in surprise, including the takoyaki vendor glaring at us. This man truly does love takoyaki, and because he loves it, he doesn't want to create half-hearted random ones. Isn't that right? The takoyaki vendor looked down, unsure. Those watching were listening intently, wanting to know why octopus-less takoyaki deserves such a high rating.
Keiji-san, if he really and truly loved takoyaki that much, why did he make takoyaki without octopus at all? Is he not betraying that very takoyaki?
You may be right. In one sense, it is a betrayal. However, it's the best possible compromise this man could find. This man is making real takoyaki today, as he always does. However, only 1 or 2 of them on each stick are the real ones.
Well, you're right. The one I ate had octopus in it. And considering it did actually have it, it didn't taste bad at all, you know.
Right. That was a bona fide takoyaki. And as for the other ones, it was the biggest compromise he could make against the biases of the general populace, who all think that there need to be 8 pieces on the stick, or else it's not real takoyaki.
Huh? Keiji-kun, I don't understand what you mean. Why is one of them the real thing and all the others are fakes? Why?
The secret lies in the octopus. Mister, this octopus, it's true Akashi octopus, isn't it? In recent years, the number of octopuses caught in Akashi has decreased, and their prices have risen drastically. The prices are now so high that you wouldn't think of using them in a takoyaki. Then the man who had been looking down this whole time mumbled. Yeah, that's right. Akashi octopus. It's very expensive. But this man had absolutely had to have the Akashi octopus. He could have bought much worse quality octopus for cheaper, as much as he wanted, and he would have still been able to fool everyone. There are plenty of other scamming takoyaki vendors who claim theirs are from Akashi, even though they're not. But this man wouldn't accept it. He wouldn't tell lies. Akashi octopus are supreme. He would never relinquish this one stubborn conviction. This man loved takoyaki. That's why he never lied. Yet, there was one point that he absolutely had to compromise on.
Well, what might that be?
The number. The popular opinion is that a stick of takoyaki should have 8 pieces on it. Even if it's real Akashi octopus, he couldn't charge 400 yen for just 1 piece, could he? If he didn't have 8 pieces, nobody would buy them. This man wept over it. In order to make just 1 true piece of takoyaki, he wouldn't ever let himself lie through the other 7. Whoa! The octopus-free takoyaki vendor burst into tears. I gently clapped one of his shoulders. No matter what anyone else says, I will never forget how genuine you are. You, sir, are a true vendor of takoyaki. You are the only one in the world with the right to call himself that. Claps all around. As I embraced the shoulders of this man, shedding his manly tears, those watching delivered a round of applause, moved by my speech. Everyone, I beg of you, please eat some of this true takoyaki vendor's takoyaki. If we don't treasure genuine men like this, then how can we protect the true path of the takoyaki? If nobody else will eat them, then I will eat them all!
Well, everyone watching is lining up! Keiji-kun, you did it! You did it!
Oh man, that was awesome!
I think it's more they thought Kei-chan's propaganda speech was interesting rather than the takoyaki actually looked good. Kei-chan, you could probably sell plain old rocks if you tried. You would go over well at the entrance of Akihabara Station. Rika, I have never heard of this Akihabara. Where is it?
Absolutely stunned by my successful pitch, the guy manning the stall next to this one called out to me. Hey, you guys, do that for my sweets too! Great, you all get the gist of it, right? It's your turn this time. Reina! Oh, good lord.
Okay, I'll do my best. When apricot sweets are cold, they're very, very good. The apricot is sitting so quietly and nicely on top of the syrup. It's so cute. I want to take it home.
It looks like she lost herself in this midway through. But a girl giving it such a natural praise was itself bringing in some customers. A line was quickly forming behind Reina. Huh. Next up is the... What the hell? Okonomiyaki stand. Satsuko, you're up.
Well... The crunch of the fried tempura batter mixed with yakisoba is simply to die for. With a huge piece of bacon laid on top when you bite into it, it all comes flooding out. Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Yeah, that's freaking great. Now I want to try some too. Then a huge line formed at my words. What on earth is this? So basically, all these onlookers are just following us around to all the stands.
When people hear about food from others and then try for it themselves, it tastes a lot better than it normally would.
So that's it. Even Rika-chan was gorging herself on the food, getting sauce in the bib she'd put on to prevent her shrine maiden outfit from getting dirty. That's good.
Nice, the older guys are getting into it too. Okay, Kei-chan, which one should I do?
Right, Mion, you go to the stand next to that. Show them the depths of your power.
Huh, but Kei-chan, the stall next to that is...
Whoops. A goldfish scooping stand. A bit out of our element.
No, as club president, I won't flee no matter who or what my opponent is. Let's get started. I look forward to a splendid performance, Mion-san.
The onlookers were also watching Mion with hopeful eyes. Well, good luck, Mion.
Welcome, welcome. Here's your net and bowl.
Okay, here we go. The goldfish are energetic today. They really look delicious. Small things like these, you could crunch them down. What?
Mion-san, what in the world are you saying? Mi-chan, you eat them? Did you eat the one that Reina caught last year too? No, I didn't say anything like that.
Mion's face went red and she shook it vehemently in denial. Well, I mean, you just said so yourself that they look really delicious.
Yes, you did indeed say so.
Oh my god, you bitch!
My sister is omnivorous. She eats anything that can go in her mouth. If they taste good, then maybe I'll try one next time. No, Rika-chan, don't. You'll get sick.
Wait a second. Hey, what the hell? Shion, how long have you been here?
Hey, Kei-chan, Mion, everyone, good evening.
Bitch!
Where did you come from, Shion? I've been here since the bit with the yakisoba. You were all so loud that I found you right away. Jeez. You've got nothing to do with this, do you?
Go somewhere else already. Oh, that was Mion.
Jeez, Mion, don't treat me so cruelly. Right, Kei-chan? You're okay with me being here, right?
She asked, grabbing my arm and pushing her chest into it. Bounce. Really?
Keiji-kun, you're a pervert. Your nose is bleeding.
When you squish a jelly donut, the jelly comes out, right? It's the same. This isn't something I have any control over.
Is that right? Then will more come out if I squeeze harder?
Mion!
Squeeze.
Shion's her cleavage is right up against my chest. Drip. Shion, what the hell?
Shion, what the heck are you trying to do? How vulgar! I seem to have misjudged you. What about my flat chest?
Rika-chan clasps onto my arm too. Rub. A plentiful plump feeling on my left shoulder and the sour sensation of a young, unripe fruit on my right. Boom, boom, bang. Shion, Rika-chan, and I, our faces now bruised, fell to the ground, limbs sprawled. Well, I'm kind of glad Shion got hit. Thank you.
Nice job, Reina. Everyone's so dirty.
That was extremely perverted.
Reina punched me. It really hurts. Rika, you get what you deserve. Sheesh.
Now that Shion was here, the energy around us had increased by 120%.
Your friends are so much fun, Mion.
I never get bored of them.
Right. If you weren't here, it would be way more fun, you know. I want to stay with you all, but if I continue seducing Kei-chan, my sister looks like she's literally going to bite my head off. So I'll retreat for now. I'll be back. See you, Mion.
Don't be back! Get the salt! Someone's got the salt! Someone get the salt! After teasing her older sister so much, Shion ran away into the crowd of people and disappeared. Good lord, Shion, I freaking hate you!
I feel that I have borne witness to a rare side of Mion-san. When Mi-chan is with Shi-chan, she looks kinda cute.
Reina smiled happily, earning her a whack on the head from Mion.
Don't say dumb stuff! Let's get to the next stand already!
Oh, poor Mion. We went about just like that, really noisy and lively, to the other stands. We were paying money towards the beginning, but midway through, the guys running the shops thought we were just too funny and we ended up being able to fool around without paying much more. That's cool. Bump. The vigorous sound of a big taiko drum echoed through the air. The fuck is a taiko drum?
Rika, looks like it's about time. Yep, looks like it.
Right, it's about time for Rika-chan to appear in the offertory dance.
I'm a little nervous. Believe in yourself. All of your sweat will definitely amount to something, Rika-chan.
Mion slapped hard on Rika-chan's back.
That's right, you'll do fantastic, Rika. I'll do my best. Yeah, that's the spirit.
I ball my hand into a fist and raise it into the air. We're rooting for you, Rika-chan. Go for it. Yay, remember?
Go for it.
Rika-chan gave the best smile I'd ever seen, then pivoted on her heel and ran off.
Okay, we should get going too.
Right, let's go cheer her on.
You mustn't. You must keep silent during the performance.
I got it, jeez. I rubbed a hand through her hair. She was worried about a good friend up to the end.
Then we better hurry. All the good spots will be taken. Come on.
Mion ran off and everyone else followed a moment later. A large amount of people had already clustered into a tight space to watch the edifying dance. Good lord, I almost yawned midway through. I'm pissed off about that. Why do I keep doing that? Whoa, this is a lot of people. I turned around to look at everyone else, but nobody was there. Where did everyone go? They probably got lost among all these people. Finally, I spotted the back of Mion's head on the other side of the crowd. It definitely doesn't look like I can get over there. Well, we got separated, no big deal. We can just meet up back when Rika-chan's dance is over. I gave up on finding the others and wandered around, trying to look for a place where I'd be able to see better. It didn't take long for me to realize I'd have to settle for watching between the heads of the people in front of me, though. Thump. Once again, an even louder taiko drum resounded. This one was to announce the beginning of the dance. I couldn't see very well, but it seemed like Rika-chan had come on stage with the elders, who were in priestly garb. I heard low exhalations of admiration and the seniors rubbing their prayer beads in gratitude. Everyone's heads were in the way, and I couldn't see. It was really frustrating. We should have cut playtime short and come here to get good spots earlier. After Rika-chan intoned the prayer, she took the festival hoe and walked to the pile of quilts stacked on the altar. That's right. The point of the ceremony was to purify bedding and to hold a memorial service, wasn't it? Then, the solemn offertory dance began. She had practiced using a mochi-pounding mallet. The awkwardly shaped festival hoe Rika-chan held seemed really heavy. Back and forth, up and down. It was doubtlessly difficult to even lift in the air, but she sweated and waved, raised and dropped it, again and again. She couldn't just deal with it and do it grudgingly. As the shrine maiden, she needed to retain the dignity and solemnity present at this festival. There must be a ton of pressure on Rika-chan's shoulders right now. Damn, why am I cheering on from a place I can barely see her? I'm her friend, so I should be right up to the best spot rooting for her.
Kei-chan, over here.
Someone tugged lightly on the back of my shirt collar. It was Shion. She beckoned me outside the crowded ring of people. She had a mischievous grin on her face, and I took it as her saying she knew a good place nobody else knew of. Shion, what's up?
Shh. Just be quiet and come with me.
After she told me so, she ran in a big detour around the throng. Man, it's great to have someone who knows the lay of the land out here at times like this. Impressed though as I was, I nearly lost sight of her right away. No more getting separated from me. I ran after her so that I wouldn't be left behind. As I wandered in anticipation of what kind of secret spot Shion had in mind, we left the crowd of people and went around to the back of the shrine grounds. Hey, wait, where are we going? We're getting further and further away.
Shh. Just stay quiet and follow me. You'll understand soon.
Shion gave me a wink that reminded me of Mion as she said that. No sign of people and not much moonlight. It was dark. We had gotten pretty far away from the crowd of people on the shrine grounds. Why do I have a bad feeling about this? How are we supposed to see Rika-chan's dance from here? I see. There's some high spot around here, isn't there? Like a rooftop or somewhere we can look down at it, right? What? Why do we have to climb onto the roof? Well, how else are we supposed to see Rika-chan's dance?
Did you really want to see Rika-chan's dance? Kei-chan, could it be that your strike zone is really low?
I don't think we're understanding each other here. Weren't you going to show me somewhere I could see Rika-chan's dance from easily?
What? Who made that promise?
Gah! What's going on? Why me? Why do I always misunderstand Shion? Is it my fault? Am I just reading the wrong things into it? Then why did you call me all the way out here? With an expression that indicated she wasn't fooling around, Shion pressed her index finger to my lips and said slowly and quietly,
This place is a dark, dead, empty spot. You can't see from the festival grounds, and now a male and female of the same age are all alone together.
Nope. Is this PG? This is probably not PG. Do I need to censor this? Could this be?
Shion,
She's not playing something crazy again, is she?
shh, look over there. See? Shion whispered, pointing to the dark underbrush. And there we saw 2 figures, one male and one female. What's that? Is that? We're at the scene of a rendezvous, of course. See? Look closely. Can you tell who they are? I peered intently into the dark at Shion's suggestion.
Oh, it's Tomotaki-san and Takano-san.
Huh?
The 2 of them were clearly breathing quietly and glancing around to make sure nobody knew they were there, as they were crouched before the entrance to a wooden storehouse-like building.
Wait, Shion, could this be what you wanted to show me? Kei-chan, you can see Rika-chama's dance any year, but you won't ever get another chance like this, okay?
I had thought the Sonozaki sisters each had their own personalities, but at times like this, they seemed all too similar.
I'm going back. Don't call me for something like this again. If you move now, they'll see us.
At our noisy argument, Takano-san suddenly turned around.
Oh my, who might that be?
We held our breaths and tried to wait it out, but it seemed like Takano-san was now acutely aware of our presence. Shion and I exchanged glances, then gave up and climbed out from behind the bush. Good lord, Shion, you're getting me into a lot of trouble here. I really don't like you.
Well, hello there. The moon sure is beautiful tonight, isn't it? My. If it isn't Shion-chan and Mayabara-kun. Good evening. Yes, the moon certainly is pretty.
What's this? Gage-kun, you sure are smart, you know that? Having a secret date in a place like this? And I guess we accidentally interrupted something important. You're the ones who are meeting up secretly. Tomotaki-san and Takano-san laughed to themselves, and it got on my nerves for some reason. Wait, so you two weren't having a little rendezvous then? Oh, whoops. I guess I was asking that one. Of course we weren't. Although I don't dislike that kind of romance.
Unfortunately, this wasn't the location of a rendezvous either of you would want to see. Sorry for not living up to your expectations. If this wasn't a rendezvous, then what were you doing? Tomotaki-san, were you messing around with the padlock on the door just now?
Huh? After she said that, I looked at the 2 of them again, and I definitely saw it. They were hunched in front of a warehouse door, fiddling with a pretty heavy-looking padlock. Guess we've been found out, huh? We were trying to break into the warehouse, but don't tell anyone, alright? Don't tell anyone? Are you thieves or something? I demanded unthinkingly, just because of how absently Tomotaki-san was grinning.
Nah, never. Thieves are people who steal things, right?
It's not like we were trying to take anything out of here.
I see. Then why are you trying to unlock the door? This is the forbidden storehouse for ritual tools. They say only the Furude family and a mere handful of others are allowed in.
Forbidden storehouse? I took a few steps back at that and looked on the entire warehouse. It certainly looked like one, built removed from any signs of people, almost as if in secret. It was filthy, revealing how little it was ever opened. And it was built to be durable, giving it a strange, overpowering impression. Now that I looked at it more closely, it was certainly different than normal warehouses.
This place, they're called ritual implements. Basically, this is a warehouse where they store such tools used in rituals. Well, more accurately, maybe it's a temple where the implements are enshrined. The ritual Rika-chan is using for the offertory dance was inside here until today. Of course, if anyone but the Furude family enters, they bring impurity into it, so absolutely no one is allowed a single step inside it.
Then why the hell were you trying to get in there?
It's a sanctuary.
Shouldn't we absolutely not be coming to a place like this then? However, Takano was wearing a childlike impression, an innocent smile at best, and terribly cruel grin at worst.
I told you I was researching Hinamizawa's folk tales and legends out of an interest in them, didn't I? A lot of the answers to questions I'm curious about are hidden away inside here. I've waited all this time until today for this chance.
A chance? Everybody's eyes were fixed on the dance at the shrine grounds today. This was the ultimate blind spot.
Heh, I see. I didn't know you had lockpicking skills, Tomataki-san.
Stop it. I don't want to be doing this, okay?
Sorry for taking you along with me, but this was all thanks to you, Jiro-san. I really am grateful.
Sheesh. This is the only time, understand, Takano-san? I don't want to be sneaking into places like this.
You really are a good person, Jiro-san.
Kerclink. Tomataki-san undid the padlock and placed it to the side. I don't like the way this is going! It's open.
Thank you. At long last.
Takano-san gulped. With an unusually excited air about her, she gave the heavy door a shove. The sharp smell of mold and dust flowed out from the gap in the doors. I had claimed curses didn't exist, but in this situation, I could believe in them. If we went into such a holy place with our shoes on, it feels like we could be punished somehow.
How about it? Your accomplices too? You came all the way here, so why not come in and take the tour? It'll be a little field trip to a museum of precious cultural artifacts that conceal the secret history of Hinamizawa. And it's only open today.
We're not accomplices or anything.
Aren't you interested, though? Come on, let's take a peek.
Shion said, predictably, linking her arm with mine. But we definitely shouldn't be doing this. This is a holy warehouse, isn't it? You said ritual implements, right? I really feel like we shouldn't go in.
I'm a part of the Sonozaki family, so I have a good guess as to what we'll find in there. But I want you to see it too, Kei-chan.
You want to show something to me? I thought it was just a ploy, but Shion's eyes looked entirely serious. Of course, she was the sort who could lie with a straight face. Of course, I was an average boy too. My curiosity was at least twice that of a normal person. Sleeping, forbidden treasures, never to leave this warehouse. Chances like this don't come around too often. If I had to choose, then I want to see. Dude, you're an idiot! Don't be an idiot! You're being an idiot! Until the locked door's open, though, I don't know about this.
If you're not interested, Kei-chan, then you can leave now. I think you'll wonder about it later, though.
Tomataki-san spoke after listening to our discussion, having himself having sat down on the stairs to take a short rest. I'll keep watch here. Go in and check it out with them. I'm not too interested. But it might be pretty interesting for a young guy like you, Keiichi-kun, he said, laughing mischievously. There was no ill will in his laughter. Tomataki-san, do you know what's in here? Kind of. Takano-san told me all about it.
Must be a pain to have to go along with your companion's unique hobbies, huh?
Tomataki-san didn't answer that, only responding with a pained smile. Takano-san had this kind of scary air about her, like she'd drop absolutely everything else for something she'd had an interest in and go straight for it. But Tomataki-san, on the other hand, seemed like the gold standard of what a normal person should be. Having him tell me so frankly to go check it out suddenly made the guilt feel lighter. Okay, but just a little. If it's not interesting, I'm leaving.
You got it. Shion gave me another Mion-like wink.
Oh.
Looks like we're decided. Shall we go inside?
Jiro-san,
we'll leave this to you.
Tomataki-san waved his hand to see us off. I don't like this. I don't like it. The inside was pitch black, but Takano-san turned on the battery-powered lantern she'd brought, revealing a pretty cramped front room. It's so dark in here. Everyone, take care not to trip over anything.
I appreciate the concern. Okay, doorman, keep a good watch. We're shutting the door now.
Takano-san smiled spitefully, as if leaving Tomotaki-san out of something fun, and began to close the door. Man. Alright, everyone, have fun. I'm definitely not gonna have fun. There was a low, heavy, and loud noise, and we were completely cut off from the outside world, and covered in silent darkness. Takano-san's lantern was the only light we had. It'll be fine.
It's an outdoor lantern with backup batteries inside. It won't go out or anything.
Looks like Takano noticed my uneasy expression. I couldn't help but blush a little and avert my gaze. Deeper inside, there was a heavy and old but sturdy door with solemn decorations on it. It was the last door sealing away what was within.
Strange how it was an antechamber even though it's just a warehouse, isn't it? I believe it's set up this way so you can open one door at a time, never letting the room with all the tools be seen from the outside.
Takano-san explained this, awful impressed by the construction. But still, it's really dark in here. Huh? That over there. I spotted a circuit breaker hanging from a clump of wiring, clumsily attached to the wall. Oh, here, isn't this a light switch or something? I flipped the biggest switch I can find, and with a click, the pitch-black room was illuminated by an old bare light bulb. Everyone scrunched up their faces at the sun's strobe-like brightness. Don't! Before she even finished, Shion slapped my hand and flipped the switch back. There was another loud click, and the room returned to darkness with only the lantern of illumination. Ow!
You can't, Kei-chan. We snuck in here, remember? If we turn on the light, it might give us away.
I'm scolded by Shion fairly harshly. It looked like she was worried about whether someone had seen them from the momentary light.
It's all right. It was only for a moment.
Takano-san remained a relaxed adult. It seemed like she was confident she could talk her way out of it if someone did see us.
Let's go in. Here we go. There.
The even heavier door opened, and this time, it wasn't just the dust that came out with the air there. There was also a nasty smell. One smell was like opening a dust-filled cupboard in the back of a kitchen that hadn't been opened in years. And the other smell, the nasty one, was hard to explain, but it was like the raw odor of a fish market. Ugh. From how the sound echoed, this room felt far larger than the first. Takano-san held up her lantern and revealed the contents of the expansive room. Whoa! At the back wall of the storehouse, right in front of us, was a Buddha-like holy object standing there looking down at us. I was taken aback by its unseen force, lit up by the slender beam of the lantern.
That's the guardian god of Hinamizawa, Oyashiro-sama. It's far grander than the one at the shrine.
Oyashiro-sama. So this is the spirit protecting Hinamizawa. The one guarding the holy land of Hinamizawa from the impurities of the outside world, and the one delivering punishment after punishment upon those who attempted to sully the land with the dam construction. It looks like there are far more tools stored here than I thought, but... Oh, whoops.
This is so sad. None of them have been maintained. How unfortunate that they're in such a state.
Even in the dim light, I could see a lot of strange objects lining the walls, ceiling, and shelves. Takano-san, speaking as if in a trance, was infatuated by the various implements filling the dark room. They weren't very festival-like or traditional, but instead, this was more like the workshop of a blacksmith or a carpenter. There were a lot of large wooden and metal tools packed in here. Putting it bluntly, it was all pretty boring stuff. I'd imagined there would be more artistic things in here from the Heian period, but these are a far cry from being cultural artifacts. My expression betrayed my dashed hopes, and they caught on right away.
Oh, is this not interesting for you?
I'm not into literature or art, so I can look at this stuff, but I don't really understand its value.
Keiichi-kun, you really do look like you don't get it. I guess that's only natural.
Takano-san reached into a paper bag that she'd been holding the whole time, took out a worn scrapbook, and began to flip through it.
Then just for you, Keiichi-kun, I'll tell you an old story. It's a common tale in this region. If you go to the library, it would even be in their recommended reading list.
Telling stories in such a dark, creepy place? She must have a horror story in mind. Shion's face belied nothing but calm. If she had the same personality as Mion, she'd have found fault with me being scared. I'll undo it for now and pretend to be calm.
Okay? Alright, I'll read it.
After confirming that I was going to be quiet and listen, she began to speak softly, like a kindergartner teacher leading a picture book.
Long, long ago, in a certain village in the mountains, there was a swamp. This swamp was very, very deep. Some even called it bottomless. People said it was connected to Hell, the land of demons. The rumors said that it was deeper than the ocean, and that anyone it swallowed would sink into the underworld, a bottomless swamp. Its name was Onigafuchi. Wait. I thought back to the story I'd heard yesterday about the sacrifices sinking in the bottomless swamp. Could that be the swamp she's talking about? So then the village was Hinamizawa, right? You catch on quickly. That's right. Though it was called Onigafuchi Village at the time.
Onigafuchi Village. That's a pretty inauspicious name.
It evokes quite the image, doesn't it? I hear that the name was changed in the Meiji period.
The name of the swamp connected to Hell was called Onigafuchi, which meant the Demon's Abyss. And the true name of this village, Hinamizawa, was Onigafuchi Village.
The villagers belonged to that abyss, or to Hell, in other words. They lived their lives worshipping the swamp, said to connect to it. But then, one day, demons began to appear, one after the other, from deep in the swamp. The villagers feared that Hell was overflowing. The demons mercilessly attacked the villagers. They could only watch in fear. They could do no more than hide themselves and tremble.
So did someone exterminate them?
Unfortunately, there is no Momotaro or Superman in this fairy tale.
Then, did they get the whole village together to fight them?
Heavens, no. The villagers weren't nearly strong enough to fight on equal terms with the demons.
Then, the only recourse would be to flee the village.
They couldn't do that either. To the villagers, it was their beloved homeland. It didn't matter how terrifying the demons, they wouldn't have run away so easily.
Then what did they do? Wouldn't they just get wiped out? Unable to fight and unable to run. All they could do was wait for the village to be destroyed.
Then, when everyone had lost hope, their god, Oyashiro-sama, descended onto them.
I see. So Oyashiro-sama came down from the sky and beat up all the demons then?
You're such a boy, Kei-chan. You always jump straight to using force to resolve things.
Shion sighed, a little annoyed. Embarrassed, I held my tongue.
The thing about Oyashiro-sama, he wasn't a violent god who would beat them up, like you're saying. He was a kind god, filled with love and benevolence.
Key emphasis was.
The strength of Oyashiro-sama descend from the heavens couldn't be compared to that of the demons. They didn't even fight, they simply prostrated themselves before his radiant authority. Oyashiro-sama urged them to go back to Hell from whence they came, but the demons wept and challenged him, saying they could never return. The world of the demons, too, has harsh commandments. They claim they've been banished from Hell. Demons, who didn't have a place to go, either in a Hell or the human world.
Of course they were at fault for attacking the village. They deeply reflected on it and were sorry.
As the villagers conversed amongst themselves, little by little, they came to pity the demons and, after talking with everyone in the village, they decided to live alongside them.
A lot of fairy tales have them being exterminated or driven away, but you don't often hear one where they live in peace.
You're right. Demons are supposed to symbolize all evils. A story where they decide to live together with humans is certainly strange.
Not really, I got a book that I've been writing that kind of has a similar idea to that.
When the demons first heard the villagers' invitation, they doubted their ears, but soon burst into tears of joy. The villagers had given them a place to live. It was said that in payment for this good deed, the demons shared their many kinds of powers and secrets with the villagers. Oyashiro-sama was very pleased with this happy exchange. He gave the demons the bodies of humans so that they would be indistinguishable from the villagers. He himself decided to stay on the surface and watch over the everlasting peace between them. A land in which man, demon, and god live together. I thought the word demon was a noun meaning evil that needs to be exterminated. A god may have mediated for them, but you don't often hear happy endings like that where both sides live in harmony. I see. I guess it is kind of interesting. Although the normal fairy tale ends there. It was revised quite a bit during the Edo period into a much longer story. After that, the humans and demons intermixed, and eventually there was no difference between them. So the demons ended up disappearing? No, not at all. Half of them stayed just as they were. The knowledge the villagers had received from the demons basically made them into something inhuman, what people call transcendent. They were well aware of the power they had was heresy, and as those below worshipped them, they lived out their lives in secrecy. This story is the root of many derivative tales and pieces of fiction. It's the foundation, I mean. The basis. What do you mean by root? She means the part about the villagers having the demon blood. What I mean is, all the legends from around here are based on the premise that the villagers are descended from demons. There was a hint of amusement in Shion's face as she said that. It was like she wanted to say that she too had demon blood in her. Is there any proof though? Maybe it's somehow rooted in historical fact beyond just fairy tales. Oh. My Barakun, then do you believe that demons really did come out of the swamp and breed with humans?
Well, it's not that I don't believe it, but when she said demon, she meant the ones from hell, but in ancient Japan, the word hasn't necessarily used to denote only that kind, right? The more well-known use involves the drifting foreigner theory. As the story goes, Westerners who were shipwrecked in nearby seas had such markedly different customs that they were called demons. Japanese people were relatively similar in appearance to other Asians, but everything about those from the West was different. Their physiques, their faces, and their skin color. In Japan, terms like red demon and blue demon evoke images especially of Westerners. Really? Lacking in skin pigments, the Westerners would sunburn easily and turn red. Being fair-skinned, I think blood vessels appearing on their skin would look blue too. A handful of accidental aliens would drift onto Japan and come under persecution, being called demons. They would flee into the mountains to survive, turn into bandit groups, and attack villagers for food and the like. How's that explanation sound? Maybe it's a bit childish? Takano gave me a weird smile when, having come up with such an impromptu hypothesis, I unconsciously followed it up with self-deprecation. Still, she didn't smile as if to make fun of me.
It's not ridiculous. There are a lot of people who subscribe to the drifting foreigner theory. Even so, nobody actually knows what happened. Were they groups of foreigners who had turned to banditry? Or were they really demons who had come from the bottom of the world?
Then, Takano-san, which one do you believe?
The truth of the matter aside, I'd rather believe the more fantastic explanation. It's more fun that way, isn't it?
Her answer made her sound a wee bit like a romanticist. Here I thought she'd reject unrealistic stories like that.
Now then, this is where the fun begins.
Takano-san brought an end to her storytelling and waits for a moment as if to tantalize us. Suddenly, Shion looked around as if something had caught her eye. Her head bobbed to and fro like she was making sure nothing changed. What's wrong, Shion?
I'm sorry. Please don't worry about it.
Shion pretended as though nothing had happened. Takano-san also made sure nothing had happened, then cleared her throat and broached the next subject. Weird.
I explained that half of the villagers have demon blood. That blood, they actually say that it's the blood of the kind of demon that eats people.
Man-eating demons? That escalated quickly.
That blood still runs through the villagers' veins. They say that sometimes the blood awakens from its slumber.
I thought the fairy tale had a happy ending, with the humans and demons living in peace, but it began to suddenly change into a brutal, bloody story.
Well, they eat people. They say that every decade or so they can't help but want to feast on human flesh. The villagers can't eat other villagers. So when this happens, it's said that they descended on the human villages and conducted onikakushi.
What's an onikakushi?
Broadly speaking, it's when a demon kidnaps someone, when a person is demoned away. They say that the villagers of Onigafuchi would overwhelm unfortunate human villages in order to kidnap sacrifices.
Takano-san's explanation was plain and simple, but when I imagined what it must have been like, it was terrifying. They lose their human reason. The villagers turn into real demons en masse. They attack the villages they loathe in the dirty world of the masses below, and when they kill and eat their sacrifices. So they're no different than demons after all. What did Oyashiro-sama do? Wasn't he supposed to be staying in the village and watching over them?
Oyashiro-sama knew about it, of course. Onikakushi isn't indiscriminate. The villagers apparently never kidnapped anyone other than the sacrifices decided upon by their god. In the texts, it's usually 1 or 2 people.
A village inhabited by both human and inhuman. It was like the heartwarming episode's colors had inverted, like negative film, revealing the painful and ugly truth.
So on the nights when they raided villages, they would feast on their kidnapped sacrifices, which is why the nights came to be known as Watanagashi.
Watanagashi. Tonight's festival was Watanagashi. I just couldn't reconcile the fun festival with the horrible tale Takano-san was telling me. Watanagashi, well, wasn't it about giving thanks to the futons we use over the winter or something?
Kei-chan, Wata has another meaning, you know. It means entrails.
Shion, who had been silent until now, spoke up. Entrails? Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Like fish guts. Wait, what? Like a jigsaw puzzle, the fun times I had today and Takano-san's grotesque tale clicked together in my mind.
Watanagashi. So, gut spilling.
I didn't think saying that could ever feel so nauseating. Ugh.
Yes, it's as you imagine, Mayabara-kun. Right now, the Watanagashi festival might just be a somewhat early summer festival occurring every June, but it used to be different. It used to be a ghastly, cannibalistic feast held on the night the villagers had collected their unfortunate dinner.
That can't be true. I had no real reason to say that, but I couldn't help it.
Mayabara-kun, you said that Watanagashi is a ritual about purifying futons, right? What do you think the futons, filled with cotton, filled with wata, represent?
Futons are futons! They're beds! They're things for sleeping in! What else could they possibly represent? I was rattling on, desperately attempting to deny the horrible festival that Takano-san was describing. Deep down, however, I found myself understanding all too well what she meant. Futons, stuffed with cotton. If the cotton represented entrails in both pronunciation and meaning, then entrail-filled futons would have to be humans.
Why don't you think back to the offertory dance Rika-chan performed? Do you know what she was doing up there?
No, I don't! I didn't even watch the whole thing anyway!
Shh! Kei-chan, you're getting too worked up.
Shion grabbed one of my ears, reminding me that this wasn't somewhere I should raise my voice. Even so, I still can't suppress this agitation I feel.
Rika-chan was carrying a festival hoe. You've probably realized it already, but that's not a hoe for plowing fields. It's a tool for dissecting human bodies.
Ugh! I didn't see the dance all the way through, so I don't know what kind of performance Rika-chan was putting on after I'd left. When I told this to Takano-san, she kindly explained Rika-chan's dance to me. To summarize what she said, after what I'd seen, Rika-chan would pierce the futons with that hoe, cut them open, and pull out the cotton inside. She'd cut the cotton out, one bit at a time and set it afloat. That's the kind of ritual it was.
Broadly speaking, it was quite the bombastic ceremony where they'd rip out the guts and throw them into a basin. And then the ritual was over. It's thought that afterwards, the villagers, each with a different role, dismantled the flesh, piece by piece, and feasted upon it. As Takano-san's strangely happy giggle, I felt, for some reason, violent displeasure. Rika-chan, every day during our lunch break, she'd take a rice-pounding mallet into the schoolyard, and she'd work so hard, sweating bullets to practice for the offertory dance she had done today. All that effort, all that work, Takano-san disgraced it. Even though she worked so hard to practice for today. Takano-san, I think you should choose your words more carefully. Kei-chan's pretty naive, so please don't tease him so much.
A moment before I opened my mouth to express how angry I was, Shion stopped me. Shion must have been fully aware of how that story made me feel.
I'm sorry. I thought you'd like a story with that kind of shock value since you're a boy.
Takano-san spoke without a hint of malice as she smiled gracefully.
After hearing all that, did you figure out what kind of stuff is in this storehouse, Kei-chan? See? Look.
Shion pointed out one of the walls vaguely illuminated by the lantern's light. There was... mere moments ago, they hadn't held my interest. They were just boring-looking tools lined up on the shelves. All those uninteresting tools that I didn't understand how to use. They all suddenly took on a new meaning, and I couldn't help but let out a groan. At first, they looked like carpentry tools, like chisels or planes. However, when I thought back, I'd seen pictures of these sorts of tools before. Yeah, they came up in a Japanese history textbook. Yeah, on the page introducing the Kaitai Shinso, or the new text on anatomy. These sorts of things. They're printed realistically in the literature of Germany, capital of the medical world. These aren't carpentry tools. These strangely shaped tools, they're for dissection. Everyone knows that in the Edo period, they would dissect the corpses of those who had been put to death in order to gain knowledge about Western medical techniques. Illustrations of the dissection tools they used at the time came up in textbook supplements. The things hung up on this wall all looked exactly like the same as those.
If you want a scarier way of looking at it, think of them as cooking utensils.
Takano-san, holding the lantern, the only light source in the room, led us along the wall. She had the only light, so I had to walk after her, whether I liked it or not.
Look!
Takano-san illuminated a coiled chain which left a bigger impression than the other things we saw. The chain in itself was nothing unusual, but further along it were metal fetters that were like hinges, clearly meant for binding people.
Kei-chan, look at that!
Shion tapped me on the shoulder and pointed to a restraining table that was clearly shaped like a person. My spine froze. My blood felt like it was turning into sherbet as I crawled up my back. On each of the joints, there were things like chains and iron balls attached. It was like the table was searching for its next sacrifice, ready to spread their arms wide and close them in.
It's probably a chopping block. I think you'd strap the sacrifice down to prep them for eating.
The words chopping block sent a jolt through my body. It sent a jolt through my spine. It made my stomach feel weird. When I looked more closely, there were many dark slices carved into it, as through from a knife or a saw. They were the most clear-cut signs of usage you could ask for. It proved these tools weren't just for show. They were used for their original purpose. If someone was strapped tightly onto this table, they probably wouldn't even be able to move a muscle. Their guts would be defenseless. You'd take one of those eerie-looking knives lined up over there, stab them with it, and then you'd slice open their belly and dissect them. I'd heard the stories,
but this is incredible.
Before coming in here, Shion had mentioned she had a good guess of what was inside, but it seems to have exceeded her imagination.
There's still more? How about it? More fascinating than a wax museum, isn't it?
Takano-san had this happy expression like she was visiting a toy store for the first time. You're fucked up, lady! I don't get it. This Mio Takano person has nerves of steel. Are these bizarre, grotesque objects that fascinating to her? I, for one, was not enjoying myself. I'll be frank. This was all too weird for me. Still, there was something even more horrifying than all this. That would be none other than Takano-san herself. Takano-san, holding the lantern giving off such a thin beam of light. If she suddenly turned it off, then what I would do when, the next moment, everything went totally dark. That's why I was scared. Takano-san had the only light, and anyway, I was scared. At some point, Shion had started holding on to my shirt sleeve. It was a little annoying to walk like that, but I didn't shake her off. That minor sensation allowed me to feel the presence of an ally, here and now. Before we had even walked halfway through the storehouse, the air I felt in my skin changed completely. These cruel tools lined up, all crammed together in this place. Some were horrible ones made to take away Sacrifice's freedom, and some were tools made to efficiently disassemble and prepare the bodies for consumption. Those were just the things I understood. There were plenty of other strange-looking objects that I couldn't even guess the purpose of. Now that I was here, I didn't have the slightest desire to hear the details about what sort of terrifying reasons they were meant to be used for. At the very least, they were all completely different from the sort of clean, simple cleaning function of a katana. Tools to kill people were obviously constructed in such a way that they could kill people. If that was the goal, then the person you use them on would obviously end up dead. The kind of tools here, however, were different. The tools that were here were for cutting people, for crushing them, for boiling them and cooking them, and for grinding them. They were tools of torture. They weren't made to kill people. People dying was just an incidental result. Actually, they might not even kill them. If the sacrifices could die during such a horrifying ritual process, that would be nice, but they don't even die in the end. They remain in a state of hellish pain. Perhaps they were only being allowed to live. Only now, in this moment, did I fully realize just how terrifying and fearsome that difference was.
People, you see. Most of these wouldn't kill them if used properly.
Takano-san, as if reading my mind, displayed a shocking smile.
Burning at the stake, the famous method of execution for witches, will kill the person immediately. When the body suffers extreme burns on the skin all over, the decomposition of the skin's chemical makeup produces poison-like symptoms and causes an immense shock to the victim. Though I suppose it's still very cruel compared to the guillotine, you have to wait far longer for that to happen. She described such horrors in a strangely medical way. Shion immediately answered the question I had. Takano-san is a nurse.
There's a saying that nothing can scare a doctor. I guess it's true.
Oh, and also, there was a method of execution in ancient Rome where they would grill the person. Just like a barbecue. They would cover the person in wire netting and slowly cook them over a charcoal fire.
Ugh! To think the memories of when I went to a day camp with my family would come rushing back now of all time so vividly. That's what it was like. Apparently they wouldn't die too easily for some reason. According to one source, even if they roasted one side of a person to a crisp for an entire night, they would still be conscious and be able to speak fluently. That's insane! You grill someone the whole day and they'd still be conscious?
It's said that ancient Rome, famous for their executions, thought of plenty of ways to execute someone while having the victim stay alive as long as possible. Among them, there was one method where they would open the gut, pull out the intestines like sausages, pull them up with a winch, and put them on public display.
Oh god, do I need to put a friggin' warning on this episode? Ugh. Shion was behind me, clinging to me. Not just because she was scared. She was protecting her stomach. You would think someone with their intestines pulled out would die instantly, right? Oh, whoops, it was her. Actually. So long as you do it tenderly and thoroughly, it's apparently possible to pull them all out while the person is still conscious. I felt a sick feeling in my stomach, as do I! It was like my organs were coiling up just from Takano-san's stare. Actually, mine's kind of twisting all around. Actually, yeah, that's the same sensation. What the hell?
Though pulling them out with a winch was a rather exaggerated method. In a more barbaric way, they might slice open the gut, then cut the intestines out, and throw them everywhere. It's quite imaginable that they did dreadful things like that too, isn't it? However, those being put to death are conscious. It must be far more terrifying than painful.
She spoke with pleasure as if she had come on a sightseeing trip. I heard Shion gulping multiple times near my ears.
Perhaps Hinamizawa, or rather Onigafuchi village, did something like that for the Watanagashi festival. Listen, if you try hard, can't you hear it?
I wanted nothing more than to not hear anything at all. So why? Why only at times like this do I begin to hear things I shouldn't be able to? What? What the hell? Takano-san, having realized she'd scare Shion and I enough at this point, smiled soothingly. Then, she turned on her heel, raised the lantern, and began to walk again. If Takano-san left us here, we'd get even further away from the light. Shion and I, no matter how scared we were forced to follow Takano-san along on her field trip to the ritual storehouse.
I don't like it.
I suppose we've seen a bit of everything. See? This place is interesting, isn't it?
She says, raising the lantern high in the center of the storehouse. The dim lighting didn't change, but for some reason it felt like I was able to see all of those horrible tools at once.
Kei-chan, look up.
What? Shion stammered while grabbing the nape of my neck. I couldn't tell because it was so dark, but there were a lot more tools hanging from the ceiling as well. They all looked like they were made of iron bars, but then I figured it out. Cages. For cages, they were very small. Crumpled cages just for one, like a casket. If you got locked up in there, no, you wouldn't get locked up inside it. It was another tool meant for restraining people where the iron bars would squeeze you tightly. So many big and large, things of all shapes, were hanging down. Takano-san's mention of execution by grilling crosses my mind. We weren't just surrounded on all sides by these terrifying instruments. Things crowding the ceiling were even hanging over our heads.
There are so many of these sorts of bird cages among European torture devices. I'm surprised to see them in Japan as well. Kei-chan, is there something in there? A person? A mummy?
Where? Shion desperately pointed to one of the many human-sized birds' cages hanging from the ceiling, but I couldn't tell which one she meant. Being that dark, there wasn't any way you could tell if something was in there in the first place.
I don't see anything. You sure you're not seeing things?
Shion didn't seem convinced, but without a means to confirm for ourselves, we couldn't do much but wonder. Good lord! I didn't mean to yawn again. Jesus Christ.
My Barakun, after seeing this, have you come to believe in all of it?
The countless terrible rituals passed down in Hinamizawa? It's got nothing to do with believing in them. Now that I've been shown the real thing like this, there's no possible way to deny it. Even the nations of Europe, with all their beautiful landscapes and legends, were like a maelstrom during the terrible witch hunts in the Dark Ages. It's well known that the era gave birth to countless gruesome forms of torture and execution. Japan was the same way. It didn't have its own era of hellscape like torturous feasts because of religious suppression and things like that of that nature. Hinamizawa itself had such a period. It had that much history behind it. Even in Europe, land of the witch hunts, that was all far in the past, no more than a series of historical events, and in this age, nothing that abnormal would ever happen. That must apply to Hinamizawa as well.
Just as Europe had its Dark Age, Hinamizawa had one too. That's how this should be taken. Even if these things really happened in Hinamizawa, they're all long past. They don't have anything to do with the people living in Hinamizawa now. Mayabara-kun, you really do like this village.
It didn't sound like she was making fun of me. Takano-san gave me a light smile.
Takano-san, you're researching whether those customs survived into the present. You are, right?
Shion suggested something that made my heart leap into my throat. Are you telling me that all these horrible things are still going on even today?
What I'm about to tell you is a secret, alright? I told you, Shion-chan, because you're an understanding person, but the other villagers don't want to hear it. If things go awry, I could be ganged up on and punished.
Shion flashed a devilish smile as if reveling in the immorality of it.
Mayabara-kun, you keep it a secret too, okay? If this gets out, I could suffer Oyashiro-sama's curse or be made into a sacrifice. If it's the curse, then I wonder what kind of death it'll be this year. If it's a sacrifice, then will I be thrown into the Onigafuchi swamp while still alive? It is tonight, you know. The night of the Oyashiro-sama's curse. Takano-sen said, bringing her face right up close to ours.
As if to say that if she had the choice, she'd rather suffer the curse. That was what she seemed to be implying. Takano-san took a fairly worn notebook out of her paper bag and began to flip through its pages. There were all sorts of references and newspaper clippings attached to them, and it all had the manner of things written inside. The letters were very small and bunched together, so I couldn't tell at a glance at what it was about.
What I'd really like to do is search the National Library for newspapers from the era, but here it is.
A photocopy of a page from some book was slid into the notebook, and it, too, was written in small, tight lettering. Like the other pages, I couldn't tell what it was just about just by glancing at it.
This is the story that actually happened. It was around the end of the Meiji era. They discovered an unknown, mangled corpse, the victim of a murder in Onigafuchi village. An old newspaper clipping attached to the page spoke of something that was no mere rumor of a fairy tale. We don't have most police documents from the time anymore, so it's all based on oral traditions and memories. See? It's not very clear, but it looks like a cutout of a newspaper from the Meiji era.
Never before has there been a corpse treated with such cruelty and inhumanity. Could it be the work of a demon? Being a copy of a copy, it was very hard to make out, but it was more than enough to make me feel strangely tense. I'm gonna have to split this chapter into 2 halves, so I have to quick save as soon as the little thing comes up, because I have no idea how long this is gonna. Because this is going on for quite a while, and I don't know.
Near the end of the Meiji era, in old Onigafuchi village, a mangled corpse was discovered. The identity of the corpse was unknown. It wasn't even in a state where it could be identified in the first place. It was missing a head and each limb was separated from the body. Skin had been peeled off the entire body, and there were markings that implied terrible torture in every place imaginable. Not only that, but the belly had been cut open by a sharp knife, with the entrails completely dragged out. The police immediately began an investigation, but since they couldn't even determine the identity of the victim, much less the criminal, finding answers was extremely difficult. Ugh. Do you understand what it must have been like? I couldn't imagine such a strange sight, even if I tried. Oh, good lord. This is the first time I was ever thankful for my lack of imagination.
Oh, need water.
The victim was skinned while still alive, underwent all kinds of torture, and was killed brutally. The author here also thinks that even after death, the remains were divided and dissected to mean even further the epitome of inhumanity. I'm of the opinion that the entire process was performed while the person was still alive, though. What do you think, Mayabara-kun?
That's some good water. I've been talking for quite a while. She spoke in a way intended to make me imagine even more vicious things. As my brain was already far over capacity, however, there was no way I could imagine anything more brutal. Then, when I broke my gaze from Takano-san's, those strangely shaped weird tools were all around us. I wonder if you could faithfully reproduce the mutilated corpse discovered at the end of the Meiji era with the tools found in this place. I want to deny it. I don't want to admit that something so terrible could have happened at all. Even so, they were so strange, so terrifying. These tools, as if they had been seen through my attempt to escape from them, they did nothing but ridicule me silently. So, that creepy incident, what was it in the end?
The author says that, regarding Onigafuji Village's dreadful customs, they've survived into recent post-Meiji days, and that perhaps they lasted until around the beginning of the Showa period. This corpse, which at a glance had been brutally killed after a period of torture. In actuality, however, it was the pitiful sacrificial remains of the man-eater's terrifying feast. The corpse was just leftovers. It was so fantastic, so strange, that it didn't feel real. Was this an extension of the legends too? It happened in the Meiji era though, which is just too recent to be called a legend. Also, there's a newspaper clipping right here suggesting it. Okay, but even if it really happened, it was a long time ago, right? I mean, the Meiji era ended 100 years ago. That's all. Only 100 years ago. Besides, it kept happening even after the beginning of the Showa period. Like with the uproar around the post-war canned flesh incident. Oh, I apologize. That story was taboo, wasn't it?
What? Takano-san immediately stopped talking as if worried about Shion. Shion briefly looked somewhat angry, but that expression soon disappeared. Huh? Takano-san, what did you just say? Canned flesh? Just then, there was a huge creaking noise. Everyone whipped around to look. It was Toмотaki-san who had opened the door slightly. Did I startle you?
Oh, Jiro-san, could you not resist seeing inside? This is a splendid treasure trove of torture devices.
I'll pass on that. I'm bad with this sort of thing by nature.
Takano-san held her stomach and had to muffle her laughter as if she wanted to make a comment about his masculinity.
In any case, the dance ceremony over, and everyone's going down to the stream. The festival will be over within minutes.
Oh, that's no good. My Abarakun is just such a good listener that I couldn't help telling stories.
I'd really rather you not mention me in a place like this.
Jiro-san, could you wait out front? I want to take a few pictures. There are actually a lot of tools I'd like to bring home, but we obviously can't do that.
Takano-san took camera out of her paper bag and began to snap. Okay, you might want to typo there. Takano-san took a camera out of her paper bag and began to snap photographs. So she looked like she was having fun, like she was on a scavenger hunt.
Keiichi-kun, are you leaving too?
I've seen enough. Shion, you're good too, right? Let's get out of here. I want some fresh air.
I agree. Let's leave.
I did feel a bit of hesitation at leaving Takano-san by herself in this darkness. When I thought about it, though, I realized that whatever kinds of evil spirits and ghosts lurked in the darkness, none of them could hold a candle to how scary she was. Even if a phantasm were to appear, she'd be overjoyed and flash her camera at it. It seemed like Shion shared my somewhat rude mental images. We exchanged glances and smiled painfully. We left Takano-san there, bathed in her strobe of camera flashes, and decided to go leave the ritual storehouse.
Ugh. That was disturbing as hell. Sounds like a friggin' jigsaw thing.
Everyone at the festival seemed to have gone to the stream, so their voices were very distant. The voices of the bugs, on the other hand, were clear, lending an empty feeling of isolation to the place. How was it? Interesting. Toмотaki-san gave us a somewhat mischievous grin. He should have been able to tell by looking at how pale our faces were. I should have kept watch outside with you, Toмотaki-san. Toмотaki-san laughed so delightfully that it wiped away our dark feelings. How did you fare, Shion-chan? Were you scared?
I was prepared for it, so I wasn't too afraid, but seeing the real thing was powerful.
Shion spoke like she wasn't scared at all. She really had been quite afraid, but seeing as how I was in a way worse state than her, I didn't have much room to talk. As Toмотaki-san grinned candidly, my mind, exhausted and locked up by nervousness, began to calm itself. Was Takano-san an adult about this little expedition? You know how she seems like a child sometimes. I was worried she'd be way too excited. Both Shion and I laughed, and left that as our answer. Hopefully, she was only looking at things. I'm worried she'll sneak something out of there, or mess with the ritual implement to watch and break it or something. Right, that's quite possible. She is alone in there right now. She might pilfer something small and easily concealed, hiding it in her pocket.
Yeah, I can see that.
Shion said what I was thinking. You sure she didn't break anything? I could clearly hear some noises like someone jumping up and down. I was getting pretty nervous.
I'm sorry. I ran out of film. Jiro-san, if you have any more, could I use some?
Takano-san suddenly appeared while we were talking about her, taking everyone by surprise. Tomotaki-san smoothly grinned and responded as if nothing had happened. He's pretty mature. I'm all out of spare film. Sorry about that.
Jeez. You won't win any Pulitzer Prizes by not stocking enough film for any occasion, you know. I suppose that's it then.
Tomotaki-san scratched his head apologetically. Without film, we're done here. Takano-san seemed to have given up because of that too. We checked carefully to make sure we hadn't left anything inside, then closed the door and turned to the heavy padlock we left beside it. Takano-san, you didn't sneak anything out, right?
How rude. I'm trying not to be that childish. Kerclack.
Tomotaki set the padlock back to the way it was before. From a cursory glance, it didn't look like thieves had snuck in at all. Okay, let's get over to the stream ourselves. If we don't at least let some cotton float, there won't be any point in coming to the festival. Tomotaki-san spoke brightly, urging us all on. Setting cotton afloat down the stream. I shake my head a few times, driving away my dismal thoughts as to the double meaning. Takano-san, looking a little let down, kept turning back to glance at the ritual storehouse. Let's just leave it at that, alright? You saw enough to sate your curiosity, didn't you?
Oh, not at all. Everything I found only renewed my interests. All those stories and legends suddenly hold water. After today, I'm gonna have to change the way I look at all this.
Wow, she's truly indomitable. Her curiosity really is something else. Still interested in all this, through and through. We descended the stone stairs, and all the people crowding the stream came into view. Near the bottom of the stairs, we could clearly see people receiving cotton that had been cut out of it further, then wishing upon the cotton and setting it afloat down the stream. The festival was already over. Damn! I missed my chance to photograph the best part of Watanagashi.
Oh, but it's not too late. I'm going to go and set some afloat. Perhaps you could take pictures of me.
Takano-san, with an impish expression, brought her head to Tomotaki-san's shoulder. Despite his age, he looked embarrassed. I felt an honest respect for Tomotaki-san, man to man, for dating such a handful of a woman.
Goodbye then, Maebara-kun, Shion-chan.
We're going down to the stream. Would you like to come with us?
No. I couldn't get in your way. Please, take your time.
Shion waved her hand up to them with an expression just as impish as Takano-san's. Tomotaki-san, on his part, seemed to want us to come, but whatever. Shion gave a big stretch and sat down on the stone steps.
I'm pretty worn out.
Same here. I'm exhausted too.
Kei-chan, this is your first Watanagashi, isn't it? You go on, don't mind me. I'm tired, so I'd like to stay away from the crowd.
Yeah, if we were to go now, we'd barely slip into the end of the cotton dripping ceremony.
My sister and your other friends might be looking for you, too. Go on.
Oh, yeah, right. They've been by themselves ever since we got separated. I'd feel bad if they were looking for me. Then Shion suddenly got a playful look on her face, then put her index finger to her lips as if telling me to keep this a secret.
My sister is the type that gets really jealous. If she knew I was hogging you this whole time, she'd never let me hear the end of it, so keep tonight a secret, okay?
Keep tonight a secret. Don't say things that are so embarrassing.
Not only because of that, either. Considering what we were doing tonight, we really need to keep it a secret. Oyashiro-sama's curse might happen tonight, and we four would be the prime candidates.
The loosening threads of tension became taut again. Shion, however, burst out laughing.
Alright, I'm going to get out of here before I run into my sister. I really am tired, so I don't have the endurance to put up with her anyway.
I can't tell if you get along with her or not.
We get along.
Though as she said that, her vague expression explained that there are a lot of oddities in a relationship between twins. I'm an only child, so I don't really get it. Make sure you get along with her, okay?
Alright, thank you kindly for your meddling. Okay, I'm gonna go. You should hurry up if you want to make it, Kei-chan. Watanagashi really is about to end.
Shion stood up and brushed the dust off her backside. After watching her do so, I returned my eyes to the final ceremony of the Watanagashi festival below me.
Seriously, though, what was that sound anyway? It was kind of unpleasant and creepy.
Huh? What sound?
The sound. You know, the banging noise. It was really loud, wasn't it?
It sounded more like a bell to me. I was giving her a blank expression, so Shion stared hard at me. I stared hard at her, too. Sorry, Shion. Could you give me the short version? What was making noise?
Wait, Kei-chan. It didn't bother you?
When all said and done, it was like we were speaking two different languages. Shion, explain it to me without jokes from the beginning, will you? What's this about a noise?
Kei-chan, you quit joking around too.
Really, honestly, it didn't bother you? Neither of us was giving any ground, and both of us were staring at the other in disbelief. Well, I heard it wasn't a banging noise, it sounded more like a bell. We were answering questions with more questions, with no sign of an actual conversation in sight. Baffled, I held in the urge to shout at her, and asked politely one more time. I'm going to ask one more time, okay? I'll ask the questions. Shion nodded silently. Okay, here goes. You said there was a sound. What are you talking about?
The banging sound. It was like a kid was jumping up and down on floorboards somewhere far away.
It really didn't bother you? There was nothing to be bothered by. When did you hear this? I never heard anything.
Wait, Kei-chan, are you serious?
Shion, as if she didn't understand my plain and simple answer, pressed me further, her expression serious. I have no clue what she's talking about. But if it has Shion acting so like this, whatever it was, it gave me the creeps and sent a chill down my spine.
It was while we were looking around the inside of the ritual storehouse with Takano-san. About the time she started her stories, I think it was. Little by little. Louder and louder. Off and on.
She heard a banging sound like a child jumping on distant floorboards? That can't be true. Don't start trying to scare me after all that. I didn't hear anything at all. In fact, it was so utterly silent in there that my own heartbeat was almost deafening.
Please don't try to scare me either, Kei-chan. It was like something was making noise in time with Takano-san's scary stories, and I was totally creeped out the whole time.
The chills rose from my spine to the back of my head. My blood turned cold as it crawled up my body. When it reached my head, my mind froze over.
You and Takano-san weren't paying any attention to it at all, so I pretend not to hear it either. But you heard it, right? It happened a bunch of times, and it was really loud.
Shion's eyes were begging me to tell her I heard it. I had no doubt, however, that my own eyes suggested something entirely different. You've got to be kidding, look. In that storehouse, we were surrounded by brutal ritual tools that looked like they were from another planet, listening to terrifying old stories. The whole time, Shion had been hearing a sound that we couldn't hear by herself. Should that make Shion, who heard it, tremble? Or should it make me, who didn't hear it, tremble? I didn't know the answer to that at the time. For now, Shion seemed to have made that decision before I did. What are you laughing about?
I really got you, Kei-chan. I was fibbing the whole time.
What? Shion laughed, saying how easily scared I was, and clapped me on the back. Her smile seemed somehow artificial, and actually made me feel worse. Then, after leaving me with 2 or 3 generic diplomatic goodbye phrases, she left, almost like she was running away. All I could do was look after her, my mouth agape. At the end of the day, I didn't have a clue what was going on. Shion laughed it off and said she'd been lying, but she couldn't possibly have been lying. Of course not. And now that I think back, Tomotaki-san said the same thing, didn't he? I could clearly hear some noises like someone jumping up and down. I was getting pretty nervous. Tomotaki-san, the most neutral party present at the time, had said he'd heard something. Then, that noise, it was real? The banging sounds. Sounds as though a child was jumping up and down
on some kind of floorboards far away. Oyashiro-sama's curse, which happens every year, might happen again tonight. The most plausible victim candidates were Takano-san, Toмотaki-san, Shion, and me. The bustling of the people sounded further away than I would have liked, and the sounds of the insects sounded too close for comfort. I'm near so much human warmth, and yet I can't ever go back there again. That was the ominous idea that sprouted in my mind. Then, all of a sudden, I was pounced on from behind, causing my heart to lurch.
Keiichi, we found you.
Oh, thank God. I was getting so freaking on edge reading all that. Ugh. It was Rika-chan. When I turned around, Mion and Reina were there too. Mion sighed and said,
We finally found you. Now we just need to find Satoko. Everyone got split up this year. We should make sure we have somewhere to meet up afterwards next year. You're right. It's a festival, so we should all be together.
I listened to Mion's happy declaration with a little bit of guilt.
Keiichi, did you root for me while I was dancing?
Yeah. I saw it all. You did a great job all the way through. No mistakes either.
Yeah, that's right, Rika-chan. That didn't count as a mistake.
I tensed up as I realized I'd made a mistake of my own. Mion slapped a hand onto my shoulder a little roughly. A gross sweat broke out over my whole body.
Did you do it too, Kei-chan? Did you get some cotton and send it down the stream? You haven't yet, right?
Is what I could feel her saying. Without the courage to tell any more lies, I listlessly shook my head. Lifelessly.
Huh? You haven't, Keiichi-kun? You should go now or it'll be all over. It'll be over.
Sorry. This is my first Watanagashi, so I don't really understand the rules and stuff.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Mion took my hand and we started walking down the stone steps.
Hey, Kei-chan.
What?
Did you see Shion?
My heart skipped another beat. Maybe Mion could sense my surprise through my hand. No. Oh, well, I sort of think I saw her. You two look so alike, though, so it might have been you.
You wouldn't have gotten that wrong. We're wearing different clothes.
Huh? Oh, that's right. Mion's momentary silence was like a death grip upon me.
I just can't do anything about that Shion. Well, it's her we're talking about, so we can just leave her be.
Mion's expression returned to her former usual smile and we continued down the stone steps, her firmly pulling my hand along. Good lord, that's the half of the chapter, but I don't have time to record the rest of this. Jeez. Oh, good lord. What? There was no halfway point. What the hell? Plumbing the depths. Oh god. I don't want Okay, I guess I don't have to cut this up into two because it just literally did it for me. Or it just was one full episode with no chapter break. Okay. Cool. Makes my job easier. Watanagashi. The rite of Watanagashi is performed during a village festival every June even now, but reading back to its origins turns up a seriously sanguine ceremony. Originally, Watanagashi would happen at fixed intervals, and after receiving Oyashiro-sama's trust, they chose a sacrifice. Then, the entire village would kidnap, demon away, the person and ceremonially dissect and devour them in a feast. The rules that determine the intervals are shrouded in mystery. This is because the ceremonies occurred extremely irregularly. There's a theory that it was determined based on astrological fortune-telling, but isn't too convincing. The residents of ancient Onikafuchi village firmly believed that they were half man, half demon transcendents, and that they were more valuable than humans were, and they forced people within and without to accept that. Perhaps the act of kidnapping and eating people was done to prove that they were higher up on the food chain. This is just a hypothesis, but maybe the rite of Watanagashi was a political event for the purpose either being an outlet for, or outright, diverting the attention of, the villagers of the isolated Onikafuchi village, in case any of their complaints or dissatisfactions grew serious.
If that was the main reason these ceremonies were held, then it's easy to explain how erratic they were. Okay then. This has been a very disturbing chapter. But I'm just gonna stop for a minute. I can kind of understand the difficulty thing now. Like the first one, it was hard to understand because you weren't really given a lot of the details, but you were just kind of like given the bare basics. And even then, it was still very hard to understand. This one is actually expanding on what you heard in the first one. And it's making things a little easier to understand while also adding more to the story. So that's why I can kind of understand. This is less difficulty, apparently, as it actually makes you understand it just a little bit more. And I find that interesting. I actually like that. Okay. The alleged importance of the implements. I can't find anything that gives us a concrete description of what the ritual implements were like. They were, however, real, and there definitely existed a multitude of different kinds. One source states that the implements used in the Watanagashi rite alone numbered 200. The obvious question, then, is why they require such a myriad of them. The rite of Watanagashi was to kidnap people through the demoning away, dissect them, and eat them. I believe the tools were for dissection and restraining, but 200 of them was far too many. Generally, tools evolve in such a way as to reach a solution for a certain problem. Once you reach the ultimate goal, that is, attained a certain level of efficiency, the tool's evolution normally stops there. Regardless, why would they have created so many different kinds? One of the cultural elements responsible for diversification over time is that of entertainment. Tools used for entertainment would evolve over time and branch out. Unlike normal tools, reaching the ultimate goal would be more of a dead end, and in searching of the next goal, they would split into many different subtypes. So then, perhaps it's not a stretch to suggest that these 200 plus implements had some entertainment value. This is just a hypothesis, of course, but maybe the human dissection process was viewed as a type of entertainment. The three families of old would develop one new implement, dissection tool, after another, and each was varied, novel, and attracted spectators to keep them from growing bored. It's not that unimaginable. All of them have to be enshrined within that storehouse. There isn't much longer until the night of the Watanagashi. Though its original intent has been lost, I will reveal the secrets of the traditional ceremonial night within the ritual storehouse. I can't restrain my excitement. Watanagashi cannot come soon enough. Wait a minute. Why does this make me think that Takano was the one writing this all down? Yeah, whatever. After the festival. Oh boy. Late that night, tensions in the police station were strained. In the silence, many of the staff members' eyes shifted back and forth between the clock and their telephones, counting the seconds in that stifled atmosphere. Kumagaya-kun bursts in with a young guy trailing behind him. Oyashiro-sama, I've got the autopsy results. The court physician just got here. I'm ready to go, sir. I'll head straight for Gifu.
Kuma-chan, things have gotten a bit complicated. They appear to be having a very difficult time determining who the victim is.
Could they have been dismembered?
Nope. Cooked to a nice light brown.
He spoke in sportive tones, but the meaning behind his words was heavy. The staff gave a collective sigh. All the way, head to toe?
Completely blackened, it seems. Probably smells terrible, too. What a shame it is to be Gifu-san.
Crooked with no possessions. Or cooked with no possessions. Then discarded outside the prefecture. At worst, it would have taken a week for the body to be identified. The fact that they'd sniffed it out tonight was huge.
Komiyama-kun and a few others are performing a thorough night raid on the dentist in Okinomiya. All we can do is hope a tooth matches up some medical records. Sorry. Could someone go buy me 2 or so boxes of Ultra Mild?
The young guy answered in affirmation and darted out into the hallway. We did an excellent job finding it this year. It could be that the people who disappeared in past years were scattered outside the prefecture like this too.
Then why not bury them? Or sink them into the Sea of Japan, or like Biwa, or someone like that.
Why though? Hasn't the pattern so far been one person dies and another disappears?
Kuma-chan, the corpse was inside an oil drum, unrestrained and cooked. They probably burned them after strangling them. They knew it would be found.
So what you mean is, from the beginning, they didn't want a person to disappear this year?
Not so much that as though they aren't related. The person didn't disappear, in fact. Whoever did it seems to have wanted to make a show of it.
You mean, it could be a warning? He folded his arms and then heaved a long and heavy sigh.
That might have been the case that had it happened in town. If they'd messed up, taking the victim far away and burning them alive wouldn't have been noticed. If they meant it as a warning, they should have done it closer to Hinamizawa. They wanted to emphasize the fact that they killed the victim, but instead of doing it somewhere for dramatic effect, they did it outside the prefecture. Did they want to emphasize it or hide it? Boy, I do wonder what Oyashiro-sama is up to this year.
Oh, jeez. A telephone ring cut through the heavy silence. A staff member nearby snatched up the receiver. Oisha-san! It's Komiyama. They have it! The dental clinic in Okinomiya fixed the wisdom tooth 3 years ago.
What about the records?
Complete with x-rays.
Well, I feel bad for waking up the dentist before dawn. Kuma-chan, get out there as soon as you can. Get the records from Komiyama-kun.
Will do! Oh, it's the chief. Thank you for coming out at this hour.
Oisha-san, my apologies for my lateness. What's the situation? Well, it's just getting good, you see. We're all getting fired up. Wahoo!
There's already been a body? Jesus, that was quick. Ugh. Well, this has been a very long and very disturbing chapter, and then again, this is Higurashi. Of course, it's going to be freaking... Whatever. Anyway. Well, this has been a very disturbing chapter, and it's been a very, very long one. That storehouse, I don't know. I have a very bad feeling. It took painstaking detail to describe that table to be chained down. I have a bad feeling about the way it described that. I don't know, maybe I'm just being paranoid, but I don't know. That storehouse, it just gives me a very bad feeling something bad's gonna happen. I don't know. Damn. But... oh, Lord. This is gonna be fun going back into it tomorrow's episode. Fantastic. Well, shit went down, and good Lord did it go down. And I have a feeling that after this chapter, shit's gonna get even more disturbing. And to be honest, I'm kind of worried. I'm very worried. Now that's easier to understand this. I mean, good Lord. Well, I honestly have nothing else to say. I can't think of anything smart to say about this other than this is a very addictive read. And I just... good Lord, to be honest, I can't wait to actually continue with the story, and I can't wait to get started on the next chapter, so... thank you guys, honestly, so much for listening, and I'm gonna work on getting Danganronpa 1, and if you guys are really... I mean, I've actually heard a lot about it, I want to give it a shot, but... if you guys want me to complete this first, or kind of do a back and forth between Danganronpa and this, please let me know. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you all in the next video.